Albert Einstein once stated that imagination is more important than knowledge. This does not mean that knowledge is not important. It means that the imagination, the seed that knowledge can be built around. You must remember this. I'll give an example. I hate it when there's a bad movie and they get me. They actually pay money for this movie and sit down and you know this feeling. And they got you because the inception, the imagination was wrong. But all this great knowledge was built around it. Great writers, great actors, great directors, perfect special effect, great special locations. But what was missing? The imagination. It was like building a sushi around a rotten meat. You get sick. You have to remember it. That's an example of how you have a lot of great knowledge backing a horrible imagination. So try to think about this. When you write a book, anything you do, inception is important. Very, very, very important. And another way to look at this is this. For some crazy reason, say a squirrel or a raccoon came through that door and bit my finger off. It would be horrible. And I replaced it with a bionic finger. I would be a bionic Albert. I would still be Albert. You would still be you if this happened to you. What if I jumped into the Santa Monica Pier area and swam? And sharks bit both of my legs off. And replaced both of those legs with bionic legs. Would I still be Albert? Yes! This could continue on more and more. I could be turned to a stuntman and start to tackle cars and fight bears and lose more and more of my parts until even parts of my brain might be missing. As long as I can retrieve the raw data and mix it in my mind the way I speak today, I will still be Albert. That's a critical ingredient. Every single one of you are individuals because the way you mix this raw data. An example would be if you had primary colors and musical notes, they're universal. Anybody can play the exact same way. But the way the colors mix in your mind, the way you think and the way you talk, the way you walk, everything you do is what makes you, you. An example would be Picasso, Rembrandt, all these great master artists. They're unique when they took this primary color, mixed it in their own way. You take musical basic notes, you mix it in your own special way, and you have Mozart, you have Beethoven. That's what makes imagination. Without the imagination mixer in your mind, you're not yourself. You're somebody else. You're a clone of somebody. You're a robot. You'll never be a robot as long as you have the imagination mechanism in your mind. Never ever forget this. In our world, we tend to have jobs, especially in this recession. Even in my firm, half the people are gone. The people that are, they're coming back luckily, but a lot of people were let go. And even in every industry, you would recognize this. If your job or your task or your career or what you do can be replaced by software, you're in trouble. Maybe not now. Maybe 5, 10, 20 years, you see something doing next to you that's robotic. You're in trouble. The thing that they can't take away from me is the imagination part. So, in my architectural field, guess who stays in our firm? The talented designers. The people that draw the sketch on the computer are not there anymore, unfortunately. But the ones that are able to create the genesis, the one that sells the idea, they're still there. Some of them sort of got that. So they put down the notebook and start grabbing the pencil and start flexing their imagination muscle. This is something that we left in the dustbin in the back of our mind. All the programs out there are basically slowly taking away our capability of being a human being. I'm sure many of you heard the metaphor of the frog slowly being boiled. And for those that didn't hear about it, you throw a frog into a pot, some water, you turn the temperature up a little bit. The frog will lie back, he thinks it's a jacuzzi. You turn it a little more, and before he or she knows it, chicken soup. Someone's special meal of the day. Everything sliced and diced. And we don't want this. But slowly, if you look at the things we do, even the way we type on a keyboard, we're turning into the classic move ET. We're getting calluses at the end of our fingertips, our brains are getting larger, but we're digitizing everything. We're losing our humanity because the things we invent, we don't understand the consequence of where it's taking us. Kids are playing on all the digital equipment that we are also too. We're all guilty here. And whenever a new toy comes up, we just grab it, let it melt away our humanity like a frog in a pot. If you are aware of this, you can possibly leap out and save yourself for a better day. But if you stay in this hot jacuzzi, you become someone's meal. That's what we don't want. We want to be aware of this. When I was young, I accidentally stumbled across imagination exercise. When I was about 5, 6 years old, my dad, for a job reason, had to move far, far, far away. I missed him so much that whenever I found a balloon, whenever I saw somebody with a balloon, I asked them, Mr. Could I have a balloon? I need to write to my dad. I actually believed it. So I got the balloon, I found the tallest building I could find, and wrote a little note to my dad of how much I missed him, and please come back and get me out of here. And standing here, please, Dad, come back. I drew a little picture, little notes, and I sent the balloon up. I watched the balloon go around a certain building, and it would disappear, and my eyes can't see it anymore. But in my mind's eye, I willed the balloon towards my dad. I stood there and I said, I'm going to get this balloon to my dad's hand no matter what. The balloon traveled in my mind. It went slowly across the Pacific Ocean. I knew there were a lot of winds there, so I took extra minecart to make sure it does not top. And there's this darn fish coming out of the water, so I had to keep them down. I kept on pushing the balloon until it went past all the whales, eventually between the coconut trees where my dad was at in Hawaii. And I saw in my mind my dad grabbing the balloon with a warm smile, opening the letter and looking and reading this and thinking, I must get back to my son. And I did this over and over again in many different ways, each time a different journey. And it built my imagination muscle over many, many years. When I finally saw my dad, I said, Dad, did you get those letters? My dad paused, but very wisely he said, yes, I did. Oh, thank goodness! So many of them! I thought that they would just go away. But that gave me a lot of hope that I could do anything as long as my mind can imagine this. And that led me to architecture. Think about architecture, it's very crazy. You have this crazy ideas of shape of people live and work in, and you put it on these paper, you